there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphan Last, aka Skylar Madison, and today I'm going to go ahead and continue where I left off, working on the Republic Destroyer for Galaxy's Edge. And I'm working on, at this moment, and this part of the footage is sped up significantly more than the rest of the video. I'm working on just getting rid of some of the shading issues that I noticed at the tail end of last week's video. There were a lot of shading issues down here, and I think I wound up working them all out. If there is any shading issues that still exist, I think that they're probably so minor that it's not something that you should really be too concerned about. I think I've gotten it to the point where this looks good. This is it. This is finished. Basically, it's just that I think that the only way anyone would ever notice those shading issues is ultimately if they're looking at it with a glossy surface, like a glossy matte cap or something like that, or a glossy texture on the object. And yeah, you know, they might be able to spot something, maybe, and ways to fix it, I guess, but I just kind of felt like that doesn't matter because it's going to have more of a matte-like texture on there. Now, I still have yet to texture this thing. Cyan Loss has been wanting me to check out something with how, like, UV unwrapping and making textures and such. I'm interested in what he's wanting me to take a look at, and I kind of want to actually hang out with him. Like that's the point of me working on the Galactic Ring, which is my project. Interacting with my audience a bit more, and like even though this project right here doesn't involve interacting with the audience, I guess, because this is more so of a, you know, this is Galaxy's Edge, not the Galactic Ring. Even still, like if a subscriber that's really good at artwork wants to show me something, I'm totally down for it. That'd be cool. But anyhow, yeah, so here I'm wrapping up the process of kind of smoothing out the shading issues, and I think it wound up looking pretty good. And so, you know, sometimes I'll try to work on something, and then I find, okay, well, I just need to work out a better workflow for this sort of thing. And so then after I realize that, I start working on something else. Now, on the model currently on the screen right now, the bridge is how I left it inside of the last video. And so here you can actually see me just select it and delete it. And as I was going to sleep one night, last week actually, as I was editing this all together, I was thinking, man, that bridge on that Republic Destroyer looks horrible. Somehow I need to make that bridge look appealing. How do I do it? And I was thinking, you know, there's a lot of round shape language to this thing. Yeah, there's some sharp shape language as well. But like the bottom of the ship with the bottom bulbs and stuff like that, the roundness of the engines towards the top, I might as well just have some round something there, something like half of a cylinder. And that's exactly what I did. I created half of a cylinder right there. And you can see me constructing the bridge. And I really liked this. There are some shading issues on the windows. I still need to address those. But this bridge is actually huge. It's absolutely enormous. I wound up creating a turret, and I started to kind of visualize this turret as being about 4 times the size of a human being, 4 or 5. And you know, when I hold that turret up to that bridge is huge. It's like the vertical height, just the size of it, it's enormous, absolutely enormous, and I love it. I think that's the coolest thing ever. where everyone inside of the bridge has a good region to work at. I think you know in Star Trek where someone's console will blow up, and it's just like, oh, that it just was a couple of sparks that get a different person sitting at that desk or something like that. You know, if it was a legitimate explosion, and everything was so spaced out because the bridge is really big, that explosion wound up killing the person that was sitting at that console, and that console blew up. Yeah, I think that would be much more interesting. It'd be a good way for an author to ratchet up things like tension and stuff inside of a story. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Here you see me starting to work on the turret. Now, this is the housing around it. And, you know, there's some weird ideas that I had early on while creating the housing for the turret. So basically I was thinking, you know, what if there was like a power source, batteries or something like that, and I put them on the exterior of the ship, and, you know, that would be a design concept that would definitely apply to something like Star Wars' Star Destroyer. However, I don't think it works with everything that I've designed on the ship. I have a much more minimalistic look to my ship, and so trying to put like a bunch of batteries here and there, and you know, there's so many things on the Star Destroyer as an example. There's like so many little tiny details, and it's like, you know, that actually looks like an important piece of equipment right there. Why is it on the exterior of the ship? Is kind of how I feel. It's like, why would you put all of your sensitive equipment on the exterior of your ship? Why don't you put it on the interior of your ship so that it, you know, is in a relatively safe place under the hull, that sort of thing. And so I kind of like that sort of line of reasoning and thought, keeping all of the sensitive equipment like a power supply, like having all of that hidden away from the potential enemy. I think that works out really well as a strategy, as well as how to regard designing something for the Galaxy's Edge Republic, like whether it's a ship, a vehicle, or a turret, or whatever it is. Like, I think that's an interesting way to kind of look at it. Now, I've shared this image, like the 3D model. I've taken an image and I've shared it all over the internet at this point, and I've gotten a couple of critiques. One person said that they don't like the round bulbs on the bottom of the Republic Destroyer. They didn't tell me if they aesthetically didn't like it. What they said, and this is fine, I'm okay with critiques. I like critiques. As long as they're well thought out and intelligent, I like critiques. He said he didn't like it because he thinks it would be more difficult to repair. Okay? Now, okay, we've had naval craft that have been able to sail the high seas and such like that. Ever since, you know, the Greek and Roman times, like ever since then, yeah, we've been able to do that, and all of these craft have a round underbelly to the ship, and we've had no problems ever since then in fixing the round damage on these ships. And fast forward to today, where we're working on damn near sci-fi level naval craft, we still don't have any problem with manufacturing these parts. Everything seems to be just fine as far as that's concerned. So, yeah, I don't think that the round underbelly of the ship would be more difficult to fix, just because it has a round underbelly. I think if anything, like, this is a sci-fi universe, so why wouldn't they figure, like, with this vastly amazing technology, why wouldn't they figure out a way how to fix their ships, and resolve any issue with a round hole to a craft? The next thing that he said is he doesn't like the round underbelly of the ship because he thinks it would be more susceptible to damage. But if you think about it, the framing inside of a round surface, inside of a round, structural thing, that would be a hell of a lot more easier to structurally reinforce than a flat surface. Because you need to have a lot of pillars and such like that. And ultimately, visualizing a flat surface getting plowed into and bending, it seems a hell of a lot easier than trying to brute force a round, sort of convex shape, trying to plow into something like that, with a projectile or with some sort of laser blast. It just seems like, or even with a kamikaze fighter, it just seems like the round surface would be much more structurally stable. So, yeah, I appreciate the critique. I just can't help but 100% disagree. And that's fine. I don't have to agree with every critique, and sometimes I completely agree with the critique, and so this is just a case where I kind of just disagree. Now, another critique that some people have been throwing out at me has been, isn't the bridge to the ship in the middle of the spaceship? And my response to that has been, so far, I have no idea. Honestly, I don't think that Jason Onspach and Nick Cole have made any strong physical descriptions of the Republic Destroyer. I'm all ears if they have, and it describes that the bridge of the ship is in the middle of the ship. I'd be willing to move that bridge, closer towards the center. Okay, not necessarily in the center. I want to keep some of my design that I've actually created. So yeah, just go ahead and, for those of you that are leaving that critique, go ahead, look into it, read up on it, or listen to Audible on it, and let me know, and I'll change the design if needed. I suppose I could just tweet at Jason Onspach and see what he has to say about it. Yeah, that might be my best bet. If no one could, because the thing is even if people have read it or something like that, it doesn't necessarily mean that they remember which book it's in. And even if they do read it again, it's, I don't know. Sometimes you just get caught up in the story, and you forget to, notate where what that description was, what that physical description was. So even though someone doesn't find it, it's really difficult to prove a negative. So, I mean, it's a common statement nowadays for people to say that you can't prove a negative. You can prove a negative. It's just not as easy as proving a positive concept. But anyhow, here I'm connecting the turrets to the Republic Destroyer, and that looks pretty snazzy. I think it came out looking good. In last year's version of me trying to create the Republic Destroyer, I designed some strange thing somewhat of an abomination, but you know, it still came out looking okay, I guess. It basically, I constructed some sort of turret and put them on top of the old design of the Republic Destroyer, and almost immediately just deleted them because they just didn't look right. And so for the turrets to actually look like an intentional part of the design, that meant a lot to me, and it wound up actually looking right, which is cool. And it's weird because, like, you think, like, when you think about sitting down and designing a spaceship, you're just thinking about sitting down and designing one solitary thing, really. You're not actually thinking of, like, I guess drawing all of the accessories or sculpting all of the accessories. Because, like, I guess things like those batteries that I was mentioning that I wound up deleting ultimately down the road, a spaceship might need turrets, and you need to spend just as much time and care and love, I guess, on these turrets as you do for the whole rest of the ship. That sort of thing. Like, man, yeah, this is involved. This is a lot of work, and I mean, I'm enjoying the time that I'm spending on it. But yeah, I guess I don't know. It's weird. It's a learning experience for me a little bit. Here I'm making the basically the docking port for the Republic Destroyer. And this is basically something that, basically a door that extends kind of like a cylindrical hallway between one ship, like, you know, the Republic Destroyer, and to the other ship that wants to dock with it. And I know that this is fairly accurate. They've had stories that describe this sort of docking procedure. And, you know, they even mention that it's somewhat dangerous. And so, yeah, this I know is accurate. I wound up actually sculpting this is it. Oh, no, actually, this is the windows. I tried to think, okay, I'm going to make a window and then just use a ray modifier, and hopefully I can figure out a way to get it to wrap all the way around. And this will give a sense of scale. And, you know, you can see that I spent a decent amount of time doing this. More time than I should have, I guess. And I took multiple attempts at it until I wound up giving up. It basically wound up really lagging down the entire computer. Like, really, really bad. And, you know, I kind of anticipated that would be the case. So I think that I just need to do something with the textures in order to put down the windows. But as soon as I finish up with this, I think I started to work on airlocks. Now, every spaceship has to have an airlock. Now, obviously, you can't just open a window to a starship. And so I guess you can have a window be a texture with a little bit of an emitter sort of thing effect on it, so that, you know, it glows in the dark. That can work, but with an actual hatch, it's better to have something sculpted there. Now, let's play make-believe for a second, and this is kind of the line of thought that I have here. All right, now Jason Onspach and Nick Cole, they have mentioned that they are working towards getting Galaxy's Edge to be a television series. And so I'm just thinking, okay, well, let's say hypothetically speaking, let's just say Jason Onspach, they make that TV series, and let's say hypothetically they look at this design of the Republic Destroyer and say, yes, it is canon. So hypothetically speaking, if they decided to keep this 3D model after I give it to them and tell everyone this is the definitive version, this is canonical right here, and so they use my 3D model. I would want, you know, a hatch that, you know, to basically be sculpted, something there that they can work with. Now, it doesn't they don't necessarily have to, like, if someone's getting spaced, they don't necessarily have to use my model in order to open the doors and shut them. But at least, well, they'll if they decide to do something different, you know, they can still use a design that still exists there, create their own, and get their own doors to open and shut. And so that's kind of the line, the sort of realm that I'm thinking. Now, I also go ahead and create kind of the docking bay and the doors that go with them, but I'm going to do a little bit of a rundown on everything that I've sculpted here. Okay, I want to give you guys a little bit of a walkthrough of what I've gone ahead and created here. Okay, and I don't just want there to be some sort of turntable animation like I did last time. Like, this doesn't do what I made any justice. Like, spinning around real quick, that doesn't make any sense. So first thing I kind of want to focus on is the turrets. Now, the turrets are about 3 or 4 times the size of a human being, or at least that's how I've been visualizing the scale to this thing. And so I think they look really nice. I included these things that look like little missiles and stuff like that, little whatever, photon torpedoes maybe. I think it looks awesome. And so here's a nice little view of what I've created for it. Let me just deselect stuff, and you can see it looks pretty stinking sharp. And so one of the first things that I tackled, you know, in the last video, the previous video, the bridge is something that I kept focusing on, whether it was the support of the bridge or trying to add details to the windows. I wound up deleting everything that I did when it concerns the bridge for the sake of this video. Primarily because I was never happy with it. As I was going to sleep one night, I was just thinking, you know, I have all of these round shapes with these engines. Okay, I got all these rounded shapes with these engines, and then there's this weird little tower thing sticking out of it. Why not just keep the roundness going? And once I visualized a cylinder there with a slice going diagonally, making it feel somewhat aerodynamic, I thought, whoa, okay, yeah, that'll definitely work. And then I tried it out, and all of a sudden, in practice, it worked out really well. Now, there are some, like, a few minor shading issues going on in here, and I've done what I can to try to, like, you can see it, like, right here. I've done what I can to try to minimalize and get rid of all of those shading issues, but, yeah, that's really bad right there. But I'll just have to revisit that down the road. Down here at the bottom, okay, this is something that had a lot of shading issues last week, and I feel like I got rid of most of them. And I think that, you know, it's to the point to where it's within the realm of being acceptable. It's really difficult to get these sorts of things absolutely perfect. But as objects that, you know, are right there at the bottom, I think they look just fine the way they are. I included these right here, which I kind of envision as if the ship needs to pivot, it's got this, you know, the whole, like, all the mechanisms in order to make it pivot and such like that. I imagine that there's a number of propulsion devices that can get it to move around kind of interestingly. But yeah, that's just my thoughts there. Now, I mentioned in the last video that there's this empty hull, empty portion of the ship here, and that maybe, let me do walk navigation. Okay, maybe possibly around here, some bot comes out of a door right here, and then just runs as fast as it can, and then just jumps up, and then maybe grapples over here, and then it's able to climb up and then fix whatever needs fixing down up here. I think that would be kind of stinking cool. But now that I am in the walk fly mode, I want you to visualize something with me, okay? So I'm going to move right over here as fast as I can. And, okay, visualize the opening scene of A New Hope, okay? There is a small ship. It's under fire, and it's flying away from us. And as it's flying away from us, it's getting further and further away. And it's being pursued by a much larger ship. And so all of a sudden it appears on the screen. And this is the view that we get. And this is to hopefully communicate a sense of scale. So yeah, I think that cinematically speaking, like if this was, I think this is a very cinematic looking design. I think it looks stinking cool. If someone can find the specific section inside of a book that says that the engine is right here in the middle of the ship, I guess I can change it up a little bit. It's just... I don't know, do you prefer that? Where, like, maybe I could elongate this a little bit, but I don't think I like that better at all. I don't know, I'd be willing to change it if someone can actually prove to me that the bridge is in the middle of the ship. I also added something kind of weird here, and I think I need to figure out how to make a custom cutter. I made this, this right here. If I can zoom in on it. How about walk navigation? I created this right here, which, you know, it's supposed to be an airlock. I was thinking I could just duplicate it and then just kind of paste it around to have other airlocks around. But the thing is once I start, you know, copying a cutter and such, what I'm doing is I'm duplicating the entire mesh over and over and over and over again. And that can cause some problems. And so it wasn't really that feasible. I know that Box Cutter has the option so that you can create a custom cutter, and having this as a custom cutter it would actually be pretty cool. You can see that I have the launch bays for the fighter craft. I have these. I kind of envisioned them as also a type of docking bay, but I don't think that these would be in use during combat. I think that they would more so be used if like a senator is coming by and wants to have easy access to the bridge. But by and large, I think that these are completely inaccessible and even deadly if tried to access during combat. So yeah, those are my thoughts. That's the walkthrough. Anyways, guys, that pretty much concludes it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys would like to get more notifications from me, feel free to join my Discord. A link to my Discord is in the video description below. If you'd like to support this content, there's an image of a t-shirt in the upper right corner of the screen right now. It leads to my Teespring. Any support with the purchase of a t-shirt would be much appreciated. And if you've enjoyed this content and would like to see more, feel free to click on anything else appearing on the screen right now. Thank you very much for your time.